Father in heaven, may your presence be with us again as we gather together to address perhaps concerns or areas that need clarity. May you send your holy angels to be with us and to guide us through this session, and that we will get away with the right answers. Thank you, Lord, for having been with us all through the day. In Jesus' name, amen. Are there any questions? Anyone needs clarity on something that has been addressed? Yes?
Thank you.
Please speak up.
Okay. I'm going to present you a thing about religious liberty. The first lesson we gave on that. You refer to how a mistake or an error was made. No, sorry, a mistake. A mistake was made in the way we dealt with something that happened in 2016. So I wasn't clear on what that was and how the story goes.
Okay. Not to address this in great detail, but I think we've all come to understand that our test is not what we thought it was. As priests, we thought we were being tested on time, isn't it? But time is not our test. We've already passed that test. So the test is on conspiracy theories, it's on sexism, it's on racism, race issues. And it concerns our view of the world, okay? So in 2016, during the American election, we had already come to understand the fourth president issue, right? And that he was the last president. He was going to be the last president. And many voices in this movement, between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, predicted that it would be who that would win the election? Trump. And our prediction came right. But what was the reason we gave? What was the reason we gave that Donald Trump, in fact, would be the next president and the last president of the US? Because he was far richer? That was the first argument, but it soon changed because it was soon established that Hillary Clinton was as rich, if not more, than Donald Trump. She was just as rich. So then we began to agitate the fact that she's female and therefore can never win an election. I mean, God could not permit a woman to rule the greatest nation on earth. That became our argument. And that's where we failed the test. Because what we were supposed to understand is that by pointing at Donald Trump, a Republican supported by the Christian right, that we were actually on the side of where problems were going to come from. What we failed to see is the fact that when Obama defended the rights of the gay people, that you and my rights were being protected by that. So because people saw Obama as a bad president, therefore he's the one that would come after him would also be a bad person. But in fact, we've come to understand that there has been a revolution in the United States through the election of Donald Trump as the president, as the new president and the last one, because Donald Trump is completely anti-establishment. We know from the story of Pyrrhus that there is an alliance between the king of the south and the king of the north. There's an alliance going on, right? And that the two are fighting over what? The three, which is the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. So both Trump and Hillary were fighting to conquer those three divisions of the United States government. They were fighting over those three, right? And when Donald Trump wins the election on a Republican card, supported by the Christian right, means definitely he's the last president, and he's the one that's going to bring in the Sunday law. If it had been Hillary Clinton, we would have had more time to prepare. Because she's a Democrat, and Democrats fight for the rights of people. So even the gay rights are protected as much as you and my rights are being protected. So our explanation of the issue was completely wrong, though our prediction may have been right. I don't know if that is. So, what we are being challenged about, brethren, is how we are understanding the world and the events that are unfolding around us. So when gay people are being protected, that's good for us. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It uplifts the Constitution. And we know that in order for a Sunday law to be passed in the US, the Constitution must be destroyed. So any developments that are protecting the Constitution, even though they may be disagreeable to us, are actually good. And that's what I was trying to show this morning. What does religious liberty mean, really? Because what happened in 1863 is you had good people trying to enforce goodness by passing a Sunday law. And that was not good. 1863, during the Civil War. When you had the national reform created because they are trying to Christianize the country. So to have good Christian moral citizens is a good thing, but when it's enforced, that's a bad thing. So we did not support the gay and lesbian movements of Obama and also Hillary because we don't agree with that lifestyle, right? We think it's not a good lifestyle. But when those people's rights are taken away, it means that you and my rights will be taken away soon after that. So that's where our protection is, though we are not advocating that lifestyle and saying it's okay to live like that. Next question.
I think you have mentioned about the image of God. So, can you explain more about the image of God? What is it?
Who is God? God is a being. Yes? Oh, sorry. What is the image of God? What is that? What does it mean? Right?
Yeah.
The way I would answer that is to say God is a being. He has thoughts. Therefore, the thoughts become words, and the words become actions. So, God wants to have His character reflected to the world. So He creates beings who are like Him. who can think his thoughts, speak his words, perform his actions. So when you talk about the image of God, you're really talking about his character. I think, I'm not sure, I might be wrong. And God wanting to express that. So he creates gadgets to express that, to express those thoughts, to express those feelings in the world that we live in and in the way that we interact with this world. So that's I think that the image, when you talk about an image, we are the ones that created this image so that we can reflect him. So that when we speak, when we interact with the world, we are an expression of how God would be. So when people see you and I, they see God. Because God is not readily accessible.
May I add something to what you just said? I think it's what we read earlier from Education, page 15, paragraph 1. It says, when Adam came from the Creator's hand, he bore in his physical, mental nature a likeness to his Maker. And then it quotes Genesis 1:27, God created man in his own image. So what I see from that is, if you want to look at the image of God, you look at how God created the image of man, and that's the physical, mental, and spiritual. So God, physical, mental, and spiritual. And then to know that the physical is actually the non-physical.
USA also changing the course there. But then now the private teaching has come across that we need to balance the two because the two are one. So it's the same thing at the time of the end, though now I cannot explain how USA was confronted with the message, but I believe it's there, and if it can be proven, just I have not taken time to look at it, or I have not seen the presentation where it's identified, but it's there, I believe. If someone else wants to answer.
I don't know if this is correct or if it will help, but in one of the studies that Sister Tess does, she shows how the 11th hour workers are confronted with the message. And she shows that it is not the Greek or this movement that is testing. She shows that from 2014, if I'm not mistaken, that they are going through their plowing, and how it's not this message that's plowing them, but external events taking place in America that is plowing the 11th hour workers. You know, so I'm thinking that even in 1989, America or the leadership or, you know, was not tested through this movement per se, but it was tested by the external events which were then taking place in America. This is how God was giving the first angel to America, just like He's giving it to 11th hour workers right now from 2014. What's happening with Trump and Hillary and all those other things.
We go sleep. Yeah, it's a good thing. If there are no more questions, we can retire early.
I don't know if others have noticed the answer of Karab. I thought there was going to be a follow-up question. Since there's none, I will add a follow-up question. But this will be our study, to be perhaps for us to dig this one, so that you get challenged and you take the study seriously. He says that the external events were the ones that were giving the message to USA. But really, when you look at the parallel that he made, that the 11th hour workers, they are plowing from 2014 all the way to the time where they enter into the harvest. It's not really the movement that does that. It's the external events. And the external events are not revealed by the movement. So when he makes the parallel of USA being the one receiving the messenger's message about the external events, it's not the work of Paul. It's not the work of Paul. It's not the work of the movement. Perhaps it will be our homework to look at that and see how is it that it's connected with Paul. Do you understand the dilemma? I'm challenging your thoughts so that you take the study seriously, because people just take what they hear. They don't get to investigate things.
Can I add on to that?
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's going to be the difference between the wheats and the tares. Because remember, the seal of God is settling upon the truth, both intellectually and spiritually, so that you cannot be moved. So if you're not going to do the study for yourself, then you are not going to settle upon the truth, both intellectually and spiritually, so that you cannot be moved. Because if you study, it means someone must challenge what you have studied. Because if you don't get challenged, then you don't know for a fact that you are grounded on what you believe. So you need to be grounded so that no one can move you. Because our foundations is the rock, and the rock is Christ. And if you're on the rock, you cannot be moved. But I know as I speak to the brethren, there's a lot of brethren that can be moved easily. And that's a big problem.
Okay. Thank you, Brother JJ. So, perhaps to add on this is that on the studies that will be going on, it will be helpful The reason why I'm bringing this as a challenge is so that when someone does studies, you actually watch carefully, take notes, make sure you understand what is being presented. And it will be better also that we have more questions in such times so that you challenge the presenters. So that the results will grow. If you don't give questions, they don't get to grow themselves. Even yourself, by not asking, you don't get to grow. So the studies, as they'll be going on throughout the week, we be diligent and be ready to take all the messages that comes before. Any questions?
It's a challenge to others, maybe, because somehow we used to have some notes. Some of the things we can't comprehend there immediately. But when you sit and you are given a note, you read it by yourself, then the explanation given it may lead you to the truth. But now we are being fed there and no follow-up of any notes. If now you don't have these gadgets, what do you do? Yeah? And the language. So these are challenges of understanding the message. Others who didn't read it in 1863, how the movement whatever, even 1989, we didn't study them. So it is, we need to accommodate the latecomers, and if you can give us some notes for us to read ourselves in writing is better than these computers, because this one, they sometimes they disappear, they freeze. So we used to get some notes before, and we appreciate, and then we go on ourselves and study line to line, then you understand it is drawn well. Those are challenges for us, some of us.
Okay, thank you for that. I don't know about that, but we'll be able to share notes with those who have gadgets, but those who don't have, that's why I'm saying that we need to really take notes on our own, because at this time I think there's no printing that's going to happen, as far as I understand. But the challenge is that we need to, whenever we have time, opportunity to sit in before a speaker or a lecture, we should be able to take notes.
Yeah, we can break.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for being with us throughout the day as we set each and every hour studying your prophetic word. You sustained us, Lord, and we thank you that you are giving us these opportunities to learn more and expand our mental capacities in respect of the third angel's message. We pray that you may be with some of us who are being slow in understanding these things, and even provide the right resources, Lord, so that we may be able to understand the messages for ourselves, so that, Lord, you may be grounded and settled in the truth. We pray that you may be with us as we return to sleep now. Please protect us throughout the night and help us to make tomorrow morning to continue with the prophetic studies. We ask all this in Jesus' name.